holiday version of sticky buns that would be so delicious and ridiculously easy. You start by combining 12 tablespoons of room temperature butter and 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Into a 12-cup muffin pan, place 1 rounded tablespoon of the mixture into each of the muffin cups. Then, sprinkle 1/2 cup of chopped pecans evenly on top of the butter and sugar mixture. Now for the pastry. Lightly flour a wooden board or a stone surface. Unfold 1 sheet of puff pastry with the folds going left to right. Brush the entire sheet with 1 tablespoon of melted butter. Sprinkle over 1/3 cup of light brown sugar, 1½ teaspoons of ground cinnamon, it's really seasonal flavors, 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, they're perfect for the holidays, 1/4 cup of white raisins, just to balance the tartness of the cranberries. Now, starting with the end nearest to you, roll the pastry up snugly, just like a jelly roll, right around the filling. Finish rolling it with the seam side down. Trim just a little bit off the ends of the roll, just to straighten it out. Slice the roll in 6 equal pieces, each one's about 1½ inches, and place each piece spiral side up in 6 of the muffin cups. Repeat with the second sheet of puff pastry to make 12 sticky buns. Okay, so then bake the sticky buns for 30 minutes at 400 degrees until they're golden to dark brown on top and firm to the touch. Be careful, they're really hot. Allow to cool for 5 minutes only. Invert the buns onto a parchment paper. You can just ease the filling and the pecans out with a spoon and cool them completely. That's my holiday take on Chelsea buns. I'm co-hosting a party for a crowd with my friend Susan Stroman. So for dessert, I'm making fruitcake cookies. For anybody who doesn't like fruitcake, forget it. You'll love these. So I'm starting with 2 sticks of butter and 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. These are really spicy and they're just fabulous. 1/3 cup of brown sugar. When measuring brown sugar, you want it lightly packed, not so firm that you can't get it out of the cup, but lightly packed. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, white sugar. I'm just going to cream that together until it's light and fluffy. So while that creams, I'm going to show you the fruit and nut mix that I've been macerating for 8 hours so all the flavors blend together. I'll show you how I did it. So the mix has 4 dried fruits. First the figs, about 1/2 pound. Next, 1/4 pound of raisins, 2 ounces of candied cherries, and 2 ounces of dried apricots. Then for sweetness, a tablespoon of honey and 2 tablespoons of dry sherry. Doesn't this remind you of a mixture for fruitcake? This is so much better. For brightness, a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice and some nutty crunch from 6 ounces of pecans. Chop them roughly, and then they go into the mix. A pinch of salt, and then just let it sit for 8 hours until all those flavors blend together and the dried fruits all plump up. This looks great, and you can really taste the sherry. It's gonna be delicious. But these are for later. First I'm gonna finish the batter. So the next thing I need, the butter and sugar nicely creamed, is 1 egg. I never put an egg directly into the batter because if it's a bad egg, you ruin the whole batter. Next, 2 2/3 cups of flour. Just lighten the flour with your cup and then level it off. You don't want to pack it down. And 2/3 cups. Just add it in on low speed. Pinch of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon, and the batter's done. Now I just have to add all the dried fruit. So all the pecans and candied cherries and raisins and apricots, figs, just fold them all right in. It's gonna be gorgeous. Now I'm just gonna divide the dough in half and put it right on this parchment paper. I want the cookies to be, maybe about 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches in diameter. It's like silly putty, just mush them together. Just make sure it's a nice even roll, and then roll the top of the parchment paper over and just roll the whole thing up. And you'll have a nice long roll of slice and bake cookies. Very special ones. It's great because it actually protects it in the refrigerator too. Just keep rolling it and make sure it's nice and round. That's one, and now the second one. See what I mean? This is gonna make a lot of cookies. but I bet they're all gone by the end of the party. Schmutz it around, and then roll it up. So I'm just gonna chill these cookies, and then I'm gonna slice them and bake them before I head to Susan's house.
Hello.
Hi.
I am having a big party and I need everything.
Okay.
I need plates and cloths and napkins and platters, but all in white.
All right.
And I need flatware and glasses, but as simple as possible.
Okay.
And you deliver.
We certainly do.
Well, here's my card.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Oh, great to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Fruitcake cookies for a crowd. I love this recipe. All you do is slice and bake the cookies, and people go crazy. In fact, I just keep the roll in the refrigerator and just slice and bake them whenever I want. But this time, I'm making them all. I'm just gonna cut them about 3/8 inch thick, should be perfect. Unlike that dry old fruitcake that you're used to, these are moist and delicious. Isn't this great? I love the way this looks. It really looks like stained glass windows. It's fantastic. So this recipe is gonna make about 60 cookies. Actually smell the sherry and the dried fruit. Okay, onto the sheet pans. These guys aren't perfectly round, but it doesn't matter. I love homemade cookies that look homemade. You don't want them to look like they came out of a factory. They have so much flavor. Into the oven, 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes until they just start to brown. And then all I have to do is keep myself from eating them. Oh, these look so good in the box. All I have to do now is pack up the marmalade glazed ham, everything else for the buffet, and head over to Susan's. Am I gonna be able to resist these? I don't think so. I have to make sure they're good, right? They're so good. You can really taste the sherried fruit and the figs and apricots and a little bit of spice, the clove in the cookies. These are great. They're gonna love them. When I ran my specialty food store, we used to do so many gift baskets of food. Christmas, Mother's Day, birthdays, everything. But I always thought that each gift basket needed one star, like right in the middle, that was special. And very often it was a big cake. So I'm gonna make my date nut bread as the big star in the middle of the gift basket for Barbara. And the first thing I'm doing is chopping up 2 cups of dates. Be sure you get dates that have no pits in them. Otherwise they'll drive you crazy trying to get them out. Okay, so that's 2 cups of dates, just in a bowl. I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of orange liqueur. And it's just gonna soak for about 30 minutes. And all that orange flavor is gonna get into the dates. It's gonna be so good in the bread. Just toss it around a little bit, let it all soak in. And in the meantime, I'm gonna get the rest of the ingredients together. First, 1/2 stick of butter, 4 tablespoons. It's really important that it's at room temperature. Otherwise, it won't mix really well with the sugar. And room temperature means you really have to leave it out all night. An hour is just not gonna do it. 3/4 cup of brown sugar. It's lightly packed. And if you only have dark brown sugar, it's not a problem. Just mix that together. In the meantime, you need 1 egg, also room temperature. Okay, once that's creamed together, just add the egg. This is really the basis for almost any cake. And a teaspoon of good vanilla. That's the butter and sugar. Now we need orange zest, and lots of it. When I'm thinking about a classic recipe and how to turn up the volume, think about the ingredients that you normally find in it and figure out how can I give them more flavor. There's very often some kind of orange in a date nut bread, and I thought, well, what if I used grated zest and orange liqueur and freshly squeezed orange juice? So I need a tablespoon of freshly grated orange zest. Okay, just put it in the batter, turn it on, mix it in, and now for the dry ingredients. I always put them into a sieve in a bowl. Just make sure they're really well mixed. So 2 cups of flour, just lighten it. I use all-purpose flour. Next, baking powder. I need 2 teaspoons. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Teaspoon of nutmeg. Already smells like spice. And 1/4 teaspoon of, just a smidge of cloves. Don't put too much in, it's really strong. And 1 teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt. And just sieve all that together. And I just clean hands, just mix it all together, make sure it's really well mixed. Okay, next, freshly squeezed orange juice. Okay, 3/4 cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. And since I zested this orange, I'm gonna use it. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is add these alternately, the flour and the juice, to the butter and sugar batter, just on very low speed. And I do this, it keeps the batter really light. And just do it in about something like thirds. And then 1/3 of the juice. If you add all the juice at once, it gets too runny. And if you add all the flour at once, it gets too thick. Very low speed, you don't want to overbeat it. Okay, that's the batter. Now I'm going to add lots of dates and nuts. So first I'm going to start with 3/4 cup of pecans. Just give them a rough chop. Make sure that the pecans are really fresh, because sometimes they get a little stale. You don't want stale pecans. I'm just going to fold them into the batter. And these fabulous dates that I marinated in orange liqueur, including the orange liqueur, just put it all in. I'm just gonna fold this whole thing together. Very chunky date nut bread, very moist. Okay, I've got a pan here. It's 8.5 inches long, 4.5 inches wide, and about 2.5 inches deep. It's sort of a professional grade pan, and I think it's really worth doing. You can use a loaf pan, but it doesn't have that sort of crisp side thing. But if all you have is a loaf pan, use a loaf pan, it'll still be delicious. I greased and floured the pan, and I put a little bit of parchment on the bottom, just to make sure it comes out. Smooth the top. I'm gonna bake this 350 degrees for 50 to 60 minutes, and that's gonna be truly delicious date nut bread. The bread should be risen, and the top should be golden brown. But it's still important to check that it's cooked all the way through. Test it with a toothpick. If it comes out clean, it's done. Then let it cool in the pan for about 10 minutes and turn it out onto a wire rack and allow it to cool completely. Does anybody really like fancy parties? I love when it's really casual and fun. I've invited my friends for a picnic. I'm gonna make a meal and put it all in a picnic bag. It's gonna be so much fun. What I'm making for dessert is my ultimate ginger cookie. They're filled with spice, they're moist, they're delicious, and who doesn't like cookies? So the first thing I need is flour. I need 2¼ cups of flour. I always just lighten it with a cup and just level it off without tamping it down. And I'm gonna do this all in a sifter. So I'm gonna sift all of these ingredients together, all the flour, spices. 2¼ Perfect. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And next, spices. First, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I use really good cinnamon. One and a half of cloves. That's a lot of cloves. They're really spicy. I know people think ginger cookies only have ginger in them, but I love when there are multiple flavors and it just sort of hits you different ways. Half a teaspoon of ground ginger and half a teaspoon of nutmeg. And the key is the balance, so that one spice just doesn't stand out. It sort of hits you layer after layer after layer. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just to make everything taste better. I know it sounds odd to put salt in sweet things, but You put them in savory things to bring out the flavors, and you put them in sweet things for exactly the same reason. And then just put it through the sifter. This is what the sifter's about. It actually mixes it. But if there are any little sort of pieces in the spices or the flour, it takes it out. Okay, that's the dry ingredients. Now for the wet ingredients. So the first thing I need is a cup of brown sugar. All of these ingredients add to the moistness and the spiciness of these cookies. A quarter of a cup of oil. Use any kind of flavorless oil that you have. Third of a cup of molasses. Molasses is actually the concentrated juice of sugar cane, so it's very sweet and very flavorful. You want to choose unsulfured molasses. It's the best quality. Smells good. I'm just going to beat these together for a minute while I get the egg ready. I want the sugar and the oil to be light and fluffy. Okay, next the egg. Got one egg. Okay, that's ready. I'm just going to put the egg in. Now I'm going to lower the speed and put all the dry ingredients slowly, just to make sure they get combined well. You really smell all the spices, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, and molasses. Oh, these are really spicy cookies. For me, this is the ultimate ginger cookie because it's got ginger in lots of different ways and all kinds of spices that sort of hit you as you bite into it. And then there's a surprise in the middle. That's mixed perfectly. And now for the surprise, crystallized ginger. I love crystallized ginger. There's something about the heat and the sweetness of it that it's just fantastic. So I'm going to do 1 1/4 cups of chopped crystallized ginger. Crystallized ginger is fresh ginger that's been cooked in syrup and then rolled in sugar and allowed to dry. So just chop it up. You don't want it too large because you're going to bite into it, but you don't want it too small so you really still get that hit. So I'd say sort of small dice is perfect. Okay, right into the mixture. Give it a little stir, and that's done. Now I'm just going to scoop it out and roll it in sugar and bake it. It's going to be so delicious. I usually use for cookies, I use this ice cream scoop. It ensures that they're all the same size. Roll it in my hands, and then roll it in the sugar. And what this does is make a nice crinkly crust on it, and it makes the whole cookie sparkle. So right on the pan, just flatten it out with your hand. You know what might be really good with this? Fresh peaches. Sometimes flavors are really about what goes together, not just what you put in something, but what goes really well together. Ginger, peaches. I think I'm gonna call Barbara Liberman and ask her to stop at the farm stand and get some peaches on the way over here. This is gonna be a great dessert. Into the oven, 350 degrees for 12 minutes, and we're gonna have the most delicious, ultimate ginger cookies for dinner. The best thing about baking ginger cookies is how the house smells. Oh, these look fantastic. They're perfectly done. A little hard on the top, soft inside. I love the way they come out of the oven all crackled like that. They look fabulous. Okay, that's dessert done. Now I'm going to make roasted shrimp salad with orange and a wonderful tabbouleh with shards of feta in it. This is going to be a fantastic meal. Do you think anybody will miss one if I eat it? Couldn't possibly. This is the ultimate ginger cookie. It's so spicy, and that little bite of crystallized ginger. While Jeffrey takes his bus tour, I'm going into William Curley. He's the top chocolatier in London. He's won 3 years running. I'm just dying to go in here. Now, this is heaven. Unbelievable. I want that. I want that. Oh, there's more over there. Wow. Oh, look at these chocolate lollipops. Now, aren't those adorable? Oh, here's William.
Ina, hi.
How are you? Jim.
Nice to meet you.
I'm just completely knocked out. It's the most fabulous chocolate shop I've ever seen. Well, thank you. I really mean that. You couldn't show me how to make them, could
Absolutely.
you?
Would you like to come downstairs?
How fabulous is this?
Let's go. And And what we're going to do is we're just going to make a nice round, okay? So
Look at that. That's probably like a tablespoon of chocolate, right? Does that sound
yes,
right?
about 25, 30 grams.
Oh, can I do this?
Yeah, yeah,
And then you put
please.
this right in the
In
middle?
the centre, and give a little twist when you do it.
Oh, yeah, so it gets inside.
Absolutely.
How'd I do?
Absolutely. That's perfect.
Perfect.
And then we're going to put some bits and pieces on. So we've got
Oh,
some
look at this. Okay, so what are
crystallised
these?
pistachios.
Oh, I love pistachios.
We can just put a couple of these on.
Yeah,
And then we've got some crystallised almonds.
yeah.
Avila almonds from Spain.
Okay.
And then we've got some orange.
I don't think we can fit any more in this
Well,
one.
we can
But
get a
we'll
little
mix
bit more.
them up, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, you can do more?
Yeah, you can put maybe a little bit toasted
Oh, how fab.
sesame seeds.
Okay, so what happens next?
So we're going to put them in the fridge for a couple of minutes, and then they're done.
And they're done? That's it? So can I take some of these to my husband?
Absolutely.
He's taking a bus tour of London. He's going to be very hungry. Thank you so much. Now that was amazing. Shh, don't tell anyone, but that's where my Christmas presents are coming from this year. But first, I'm going home to make these. I think I'm going to make a white chocolate version with salted cashews and dried cherries. That sounds good. I'm going to place 12 ounces of white chocolate in a glass bowl, and I'll place it in the microwave on high power for exactly 30 seconds. This is my easy way to temper chocolate. Stir it with a rubber spatula, put it back in the microwave for another 30 seconds, and stir it again. Continue to heat and stir the chocolate every 30 seconds until the chocolate is just melted. Take it out of the microwave and immediately add 4 ounces of chopped white chocolate and allow it to melt at room temperature, stirring it often until it's completely smooth. Then, just as William did it, I'll spoon melted chocolate onto plastic sheets and then place the lollipop sticks right in the middle of the chocolate. Then I'm going to sprinkle half a cup of dried cherries and half a cup of salted roasted cashews evenly over the top of the lollipops. I love that combination of sweet cherries and salty cashews. Then set them aside to harden. And these are my version of William Curley's fabulous chocolate lollipops. I think my friends are going to love those.